What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the full 90. Now, it is finally time for the Europa League second leg of the quarterfinal predictions. And I just want to say, because I am away on a trip at the moment as this goes up, I'm pretty sure this video is being recorded before the results of the first leg. So obviously, there could be some massive changes in there because I'll go through the results I predicted in the first leg. And obviously, that could then change the result I believe the second leg is going to be, because if one team wins by a lot, they might not try as hard. They might not need to try as hard. The games might be different. So cut me a little bit of slack here, but let's get straight into the first game. I'll tell you what my first leg prediction was, because I don't know the result, but why not get up some scores right now if you remember them. Just compare the actual score to my previous results, my previous predictions, and see how you might change my predictions for this video based on how they actually went. So kicking it off, we have Valencia versus Villarreal. Now, the previous prediction, I predicted that it'd be a 1-1 draw. I think that's a very likely outcome between the two teams. I think Valencia are very good at getting draws. I think they are a slightly better team than Villarreal. They just seem to be more consistent. I think Villarreal have great days with Santi Cazorla leading the way. What a great player he is. Obviously an ex-Arsenal man. He's a brilliant player, but I think Valencia just are more consistent, so I predicted that we'll get a 1-1 draw. I'm predicting that Valencia will therefore get the job done at home, and I'm going to go with a very tight game because Valencia do still love a draw, but they have been on better form lately, getting more wins. Minus a 2-0 loss to Rayo Vallecano away. That was a real shock result. It was so strange, but like I said, that was away from home, and you never know. It's La Liga. They might have been sort of saving for this. It could all be a factor in this, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 win to Valencia in this one. Obviously Valencia being a Champions League dropout, so essentially could be seen as one of the more elite teams left in the Europa League competition, sending them through to the semi-final. Now the next game is very difficult to predict in my opinion. It's Eintracht Frankfurt against Benfica, and I was at first going to go for another 2-1 scoreline in this one, but I've decided to change it. I think Eintracht are just going to edge this tie on away goals, because that's if my first leg prediction, you know, were to come true. Like I said, this can be completely different. I just knocked the mic, I'm sorry. I predicted that Benfica would beat Eintracht Frankfurt 2-1 in the first leg. So in order for Eintracht Frankfurt to win on away goals, that would mean that they'd have to win 1-0 at home. And I definitely think they're capable of doing that, because they score a lot of goals at home in the domestic league against lesser Bundesliga teams. But then against the better teams, it's quite low scoring, but they do still seem to get the win, especially at home. They did also manage to knock out Inter Milan with a 1-0 win. So I think they could do it here, provided that the first one is 2-1 to Benfica. I think Eintracht Frankfurt will be able to keep it tight enough. It's going to be difficult, but I think they might be able to keep it tight enough to get the 1-0 win and go through on away goals. But hey, if Benfica win 3-0 in the first leg, Frankfurt might win 3-1 here, sending Benfica through 4-3 on aggregate. You know, something along those lines. That could be the other way it goes. But that is obviously also a bit based on my previous prediction, because unfortunately I am having to film this video a little bit in advance. So yeah, we'll move on to the next game, Napoli versus Arsenal. Now, I predicted in the first leg that Arsenal would win 3-1, partly because Arsenal have great home form. Napoli's away form isn't that great. They've won, I think, 3 out of the last 10 away games. They have been they've suffered a dip in form. Back in the Champions League group stage, for instance, they looked so good, and I'm sure they might be able to get back to that. Arsenal are playing them at the best time. I had Napoli about a month ago as my favourites to win the competition. Now I'm looking more towards Arsenal and Chelsea. Chelsea looking very good. Arsenal looking good at home, at least. So you never know how this is going to go. But I predicted 3-1 Arsenal against Napoli. Partly also on the basis, though, because obviously I am a fan, and I think, you know, they have to do it. If they want the chance to qualify, their away form is so poor, they're going to know that they have to go for it in the first leg. So that's why I went for such a high winning margin of 2 goals in the first leg, despite Napoli actually getting that away goal. But I'm going to go for a Napoli win in this one. If it was 3-1 to Arsenal in the first leg, this would still mean Arsenal qualify with a 4-3 aggregate, because I'm going for Napoli to win this one 2-1. Surely, with the way Arsenal have been playing, there's no way they can go to Naples and actually get a win. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll do an Arsenal and surprise everyone, turn it around and get that weird away victory that no one's expected, and it'll be like a 2-1 to them. But I think Napoli will be strong enough at home to get the win. It just depends on the result of the first leg, and then how much Napoli are willing to push to try and get that win. So if both my leg predictions were correct, Arsenal would progress, which would be phenomenal for them, because Napoli are an exceptionally strong team, probably the best performing Champions League dropout team that went down to the Europa League. So they are definitely one of the favourites to win the competition still at this point in terms of filming. But I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Napoli. The final game, Chelsea versus Slavia Prague. I predicted in the first leg that Chelsea would get a 2-1 away win because Slavia Prague have been doing very well domestically and they are decent at home, but I still think Chelsea will have just a little bit too much for them. This is a different story. They're going to Stamford Bridge and Chelsea have been playing rather well there lately, and I think Chelsea are going to get a comfortable win over Slavia Prague. Probably definitely I would say, the most sure thing in my eyes to get through to the semi-final of the Europa League. I'm going to go with a 3-0 win to Chelsea. So if both my predictions came true, Arsenal would go through 4-3 on aggregate against Napoli, which would be a fantastic result. Eintracht Frankfurt would go through on away goals, 2-2 on aggregate with Benfica. Chelsea would go through 5-1 on aggregate with Slavia Prague, and Valencia would go through 3-2 on aggregate against Villarreal, leaving the semi-finals with Arsenal, Frankfurt, Chelsea and Valencia. So 50% English, similar to how I expect the semi-final of the Champions League to turn out. So yeah, crazy stuff. I hope you did enjoy this video. Leave a like on it and let me know in the comments your predictions for these Europa League games. I'll be very interested to look at them. And then after the second leg is done, we can then go more in-depth to each team as well when it comes to the semi-final. And then, of course, the final. It's going to be exciting. Leave a like on the video, subscribe, turn on the bell so you don't miss a single upload. And I'll see you in the next video very soon.